4 tight ends you need to draft and 4 tight ends you need to avoid in the upcoming fantasy football draft, baby. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Tap. We're here to talk. Yes, sir. Tap, tap, tap. Tap it up. We're here to talk about tight ends. John and I, we've got 4 apiece, technically. 2 to draft, 2 to avoid, 4 in total, 8 in total, 4 apiece in total. Jesus. Let's get to it. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to talk some tight ends, everyone's favorite position in fantasy football.
Yeah. Favorite position, period.
Yeah.
Love it. Love the tight end. Love a good tight end.
I actually really enjoy tight ends. I think they make fantasy fun. Anyone that thinks you need to remove tight ends from fantasy football, you need to draft tight ends better.
Yeah, it's true. You got to draft these guys and you got to avoid these guys. So let's jump into it, man. Let's jump into it. Before John, you played tight end. So I think that's why, you have a little partiality to it. So, I mean,
played is a loose concept.
You're a loose tight end or a loose end?
No. We didn't see a lot of play time, Mike.
I did.
I'm glad. Well,
100% snap share right here for anything I was involved in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kicker, but still. All right, let's jump into it. Kickers are people too. Let's jump into it. John, hit us with, do you want to go buy? Do you want to go draft? Or do you want to go avoid first?
Let's go avoid first. Let's give the people the bad news. Get it over with. Or actually, this could be good news to you, so you guys can save your draft pick.
It's true.
The first guy you're going to avoid early in the drafts, and this is going to be Darren Waller.
Ooh,
I didn't love him coming into last season because I thought he was getting overhyped. And the only reason I can even say I was halfway correct was because the guy missed a lot of game time. Now, in the games that he did play, still got 93 targets on the year, just shy of the 100 that he's had over the past 2 years before that. But this year, the reason that I'm really avoiding him in this offense is he is no longer the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver on that team. You do have Davante Adams, who's going to command a hefty share of those targets. And I do think we see his total target share drop slightly. And though he'll still probably finish as a tight end 1 on the year, I think it's likely we see him somewhere around closer to the bottom, tight end 8, tight end 9, with possibilities, depending on touchdowns, for him to reach up into those higher end tight ends. And so I just don't think it's the year you want to be spending that elite draft pick, currently going as tight end 4. So not something I'm going to be spending, and I would recommend staying away.
Yeah, there is obviously a super high ceiling for Darren Waller. I don't know how I feel about him this year just because of the fact that Davante Adams is there. He's going to command a lot of targets. You still have Hunter Renfrow, who's, a very good receiver. So I don't know. I'm skeptical. I find myself avoiding Darren Waller more than I am drafting him. So, I don't know. It's a weird. My guy, I'll go to my first guy because he's right behind him, and that's George Kittle. And he's going right behind him. I think this is a very and I'll even lump Kyle Pitts into this because I don't
do that. Don't do that because we disagree.
Hold on. I'm saying there's a clear tier break after Mark Andrews. It's Kelsey, Mark Andrews. I think those are the 2 top guys. And then we go into the next tier of Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller, George Kittle, who all 3 have a potential possibility to finish as the overall tight end 1, or at least tight end 2. But they could also bite us in the butt. They really could do. Kyle Pitts only because his quarterback. Is he going to score touchdowns? They drafted Drake London, blah, blah, blah. Darren Waller, same thing. Davante Adams is there. George Kittle, second-year quarterback coming in. You've already got Deebo Samuel there and Brandon Ayuk, who could command a lot of targets. We've already heard Deebo Samuel say he wants to be played more as a receiver, and you're not going to give, even if he doesn't quote-unquote run the ball, become a wing back or whatever you want to call it, he's still going to command targets, as a wide receiver. So that's why I'm kind of staying away from George Kittle. I think these 3 tight ends are very they could land all over the board. And I don't think there's any safety But George Kittle, especially because you've got Deebo Samuel, I think we see Brandon Ayuk take a step forward, and also Trey Lance. Everybody's hot on him, but I mean, he had one good year of college football that was D2, and it's a little sketchy. So I'm not going to spend my higher draft picks on George Kittle. I don't like that. It's just, he's just not comfortable. On top of that, he's gonna miss OT, or he's injured. He's been injured through the offseason and stuff like that. We've seen, the injury bug pop up, especially lately for George Kittle. So I think he's somebody I know he's somebody I am avoiding this year. Not saying that his ceiling's not there, not saying that he couldn't finish as the overall tight end, one, and I could be looking like an idiot. But at this early in the draft, he's going off at tight end 5, 50.3 ADP. I'm going to stay away from that.
Yeah, I don't blame you for wanting to stay away, as everyone should know and everyone should generally follow. Unless you're getting these elite tight ends at a value and they're falling in drafts, we both highly recommend waiting for some of the guys that we're going to be talking about later, because it's very possible that these guys play well enough to get enough points on a weekly basis to keep you competitive and not really miss out much on those elite tight ends.
Yeah.
And you're getting them towards the middle to end of the draft. And one guy, and this is going to be my next guy that I'm saying to avoid this year, he's been getting a lot of hype because the guy that was drafted to be the tight end for the team is now gone, and they've got a brand new quarterback. And that quarterback used to throw to Jimmy Graham. Now, Alberto. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the last name right now because I haven't practiced it right now, and I'm not going to look stupid for that. But realistically, he's going as tight end 15 off the board right now, and that is because he is the tight end 1 for Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos this year. He is very fast, very tall, mid-tier blocker when it comes to the tight end, and he's going to be playing a lot of snaps. Now, the problem for me right now is, again, just the total volume that he's going to be receiving playing that tight end. You are getting a tight end 15, which means he's nearly going undrafted, going to be going last round or so in your draft. But I don't think that he's going to be living up to the hype that everyone's putting into him. Right now, you're kind of drafting him at his ceiling. In that offense with Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Javonte Williams, even Melvin Gordon, every single one of those players is a pass-catching role. Albert O could be getting games where he's going to see 6-7 targets, maybe 40, 50 yards, and maybe a touchdown here or there. He's going to be a very solid streamable tight end, but not someone that you're going to want to use a draft pick on, and maybe just pick him up when it's time to stream him, and he's got those good matchups.
Yeah, I honestly, I agree. I think there are guys going behind him. Tyler Higbee, even though, he was injured. Robert Tonyan, same thing, injury. But David Njoku, I mean, there's plenty of guys that are similar to Albert O. Maybe not the same ceiling because they don't have, a top tier quarterback throwing to them. But very similar to him. You can get an Albert O anywhere, I mean, behind him. So I would not be targeting Albert O. I mean, and plus I think we're going to see a big step from Jerry Jeudy. I really do. So I agree with you there. Before the season, I mean, he's been flying up draft boards before before all the hype and stuff like that. I think he would have been viable. But I'm not really targeting him. So anyways, my next avoid is, and I really like this. I really like this because I've got a really good comparison here. And the guy that I'm going to compare him to is going 9 spots later. Okay. Not comparing him to, I guess, but just stats wise last year. I think a lot of people got overhyped. But anyways, that's going to be Dawson Knox. All right.
See.
First of all, Gabe Davis going to take a step forward. We've seen it throughout the playoffs. The writing's on the wall. Okay. On top of that, they also have OJ Howard. And remember when OJ Howard was in Tampa? No, he was not what he was cracked up to be. However, he did take away from Cameron Brate. It was always should I play Cameron Brate this week? Should I play OJ Howard? And I kind of think that that's how it's going to be there in Buffalo. But on top of that, last year, there were 4 tight ends to catch 9 touchdowns, one of them being Dawson Knox. The other 3 have something in common, John. Do you know what that is?
Skill.
They all had more targets. Okay.
Oh.
He caught 9 touchdowns on 71 targets. The next best was Hunter Henry, which is who I want to compare him to. Not compare him, but stats wise. Had 75 targets, 9 touchdowns, 50 receptions compared to Dawson Knox's 49. However, and yes, I know there's an undisclosed injury that, Hunter Henry is missing some time, but it shouldn't be this big of a difference in the ADP. Right now, Hunter Henry's going as a tight end 17 and Dawson Knox is a tight end 9. Why am I going to spend that when I can get somebody similar who is on a team? Hunter Henry's on a team with a lot less weapons than Dawson Knox. So I'm staying away from Dawson Knox at this point in time. Tight end 9, ADP of 97.5. It's a no-go for me. I can grab Hunter Henry. They almost finished with identical stats. Listen to this. You ready? Mm-hmm. Sorry. Hunter Henry, 50 catches, 603 yards, 9 touchdowns. Dawson Knox, 49 catches, 587 yards, 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, I really think that you could even go grab OJ Howard. I mean, he's been overshadowed by Gronk the past 2 years. Obviously, Cameron Brate's still there, and the receiving core in Tampa. Anyways, OJ Howard was brought into the league to be an athletic freak tight end, and definitely could still have it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually curious to see what happens with him. I'm not going to draft him, but I'm curious to see what happens with OJ Howard this year. But Dawson Knox, just because of that alone, Jamison Crowder replaces Cole Beasley, target for target. Gabe Davis could take a step forward as well, like you're saying. And Diggs is going to be getting
150 targets. I mean,
yeah. So
Isaiah McKenzie's there. I mean, James Cook can catch. I mean, Devin Singletary, all of them.
Let's bring up some tight ends that we can actually look forward to drafting, though.
Yes.
Good. My favorite one that I am drafting everywhere I can without overspending for him, because kind of close to the price you like him at. That's going to be Pat Freiermuth, currently going as tight end 12 right now. ADP of 128.9. So again, barely drafted, depending on how many rounds you go. If you go short draft, and then kind of very easy to get. And the reason I'm really into him this year is the fact that he's got Mitch Trubisky at quarterback for probably 3 to 4 games. Then going to be feeding into Kenny Pickett for a few games, where they're really going to be relying on that mid passing, and then leaving Pat Freiermuth to be a target monster and just feed up while. We've got a nice run game from Najee. Deontay Johnson obviously is going to be getting a good share of those targets. I'm not confident we see Chase Claypool really be a threat for targets coming into the year with Trubisky and Pickett. So realistically, I think we're going to find that Pat Freiermuth is going to be the second most targeted player on the team, just before Najee Harris. And I do think that you see a situation where he could easily finish as a top 6 tight end. And if he does get those touchdowns.
Yeah, Freiermuth is a great tight end, great talent. We saw flashes with it last year with Big Ben and stuff like that. Kenny Pickett, Trubisky. Maybe not Trubisky, because he does have a little, more veteran in him than Pickett. But I do think we see. I think we see Freiermuth become similar to what he was last year in the fact that he was a safety blanket for Ben, who did not have a big arm. But I do think we could see it on a more consistent basis this year. So I do like Pat Freiermuth. I think he's a lock for a top 12 tight end, and drafting him as the 12th tight end is
solid.
Yeah.
Definitely get your value from it.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think there's only a return on investment at that point. So, my first one, not everybody, I guess everybody might have the opportunity to draft this guy, but that's going to be Travis Kelce. Obviously, Tyreek Hill's leaving. There's a lot of question marks at receivers. They've added a ton of different receivers there, but there's only one consistent thing, and that's going to be Pat throwing it to Kelce a ton.
Absolutely.
listen, he right now he's going at, obviously he's a tight end one going off the board. He is ADP of 11.7 currently. And this is why I wanted to bring it up. If I am near the back end of the draft, if I'm anywhere from 9 to 12, pick 9 to 12, I will take a shot on Travis Kelce because that's going to give you a massive, massive wow. Let me think of this word. I'll cut this part.
Asset, benefit.
Geez, like when they're
head start.
When you have when you have a big tight end,
premium.
Fuck. Oh my God.
Can you explain the word more?
When you have it's only when you have a tight end and nobody else is going to have a tight end that big or like that's going to score that many points. Jesus, it's called hold on, it's in my text. I know somebody literally just texted me talking about it. It's a positional
advantage.
Yeah. There we go. We can go with that. All right, ready? Massive positional advantage. You're going to have a tight end who's going to finish as the tight end one. I think at the least he'll finish as a tight end two. So I am taking Travis Kelce. So you get that positional advantage when you draft him in your first round, and then take another stud, top tier wide receiver, running back, whatever you want in the second round, and you're going to have a positional advantage through the season. So I love taking Travis Kelce this year. Typically, I am on the train of take a tight end late, but I'm taking Travis Kelce a lot this year.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think it can be a smart point to do that. I'm just worried about how that offense is actually going to run this year. It looks like they're going to be investing a little bit more into the actual run game now that they've gotten some heavier backs back there. And they've kind of added a bunch more B-tier receivers that are arguably better than Mecole Hardman has ever been.
Yeah, 100%. Juju.
So MVS. We could be seeing, well, I still think we see Kelce finish as the most targeted player on the Chiefs. I'm curious to see if that total target actually just comes down some, and the touchdowns come down some as well. And I think that you could see him, his floor is without a doubt tight end one on the year, unquestionably. Yeah. But I think that his floor is realistically a tight end somewhere like an 8 if he's not getting those, 10 plus catch games with 2 touchdowns sometimes as often. But I do think that his realistic finish is at least a 3 or better.
He is not last year was the first year he has not finished as a tight end 1, and he finished as a tight end 2. So, I mean, I still think he sees, 130, 140 plus target, 130 targets with Tyreek gone. So, but yeah, no, and that's why I love him. I like just being able to get that positional advantage and it's not something I don't do this every year, I guess.
No.
But this is a year I would do it. So that's why I like picking him. So, yeah. All right, let's jump over to your second tight end, John.
Now, guys, this is someone who you are taking with, unless you're doing like really deep drafts, you are taking him with your second to last or your last pick. This is going to be because you're either taking and just to throw this out there, we're talking about Cameron Brate, tight end 23, currently going at pick 181, which again, depending how late you guys are running these drafts, could be undrafted.
Yeah.
But you want to take him with that last pick or the pick before that because you want to see what happens there. You're not spending anything for this guy. And you could easily find someone who's going to be getting over 100 targets this year on that offense. You've got no Chris Godwin for at least 4 to 6 weeks. You've got Mike Evans that's going to be there. No Gronkowski. OJ Howard's now gone. I think you're going to be seeing someone who's going to be taking a big share of that offense from Tom Brady, who's always found his tight ends to be very helpful. Now, I really like this pick, guys. It's essentially undrafted, free money, and if it doesn't work, you drop him by week 6 and pick someone up off the waivers.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
you could get a tight end one on the year.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, if you grab somebody like Dalton Schultz, or even if you decide to go like really late tight end and want to grab like Robert Tunyon, Hunter Henry, Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee, somebody like that who's going in the 15, 16, 17, 18, tight end range, I think he is a great guy to pair up with them. If I'm grabbing a tight end that late, I typically grab 2 just to see who hits. And I think Cameron Brate has the chance to do that. So I do like that pick. I'm going to be talking about a second guy similar to that for my next draft. Somebody who I'm targeting in each draft, and that's going to be, and it's not sexy, very similar, I guess you could say, to OJ Howard, and the fact that he's supposed to come in and be this big time tight end. Pass catching ability and stuff like that. Very talented, athletic. And that's going to be Evan Engram. Okay, it's not sexy. He's playing on the Jags. However, they just signed Christian Kirk to a ridiculous deal. And I do think there is a world where, actually, I know there's a world where Evan Engram gets more targets than Christian Kirk. Okay. If you look at the Eagles offense when Doug Peterson was there, he had the tight end on that team had at least the second most targets on the team. And we're talking about 80 plus targets. And now Zach Ertz. Yeah, we're talking about Zach Ertz. We even had a year, 2019, where Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert were the 1-2 there in targets. So I do think this is going to be a very target heavy offense to the tight end. And I think, Evan Ingram's going to benefit from that. You've also got a young quarterback who's going to need somebody other than their running back that they've played college with, because I do think ETN is going to get, a good amount of shares. But I do think that Evan Engram is going to benefit this. I think there's a track record there with Doug Peterson. I mean, like I said, look at his tenure with the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm taking a shot on Evan Engram this year. And you're getting him at tight end 20. So, I mean, I'm not upset with that. I wouldn't take him I wouldn't take it, like I said, with, Cameron Brate. I wouldn't take him as my only tight end, but I would take him.
Let's see. I think he's 25, 26? He's 27. Okay. So he's still 27. He's still pretty young. I mean, tight ends play into their 30s regularly. And he was a very fast guy that was brought into the league elite, expected to be amazing, kind of flashed young, but never panned out. And you could blame a lot of that on a terribly coached, terribly ran organization. And he's going to another one that's been pretty poorly ran. But hey, we've got hope. I do think that him and Trevor Lawrence could find a connection.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say this is his best quarterback he's played with.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, like, you got Eli Manning at the back end of his career and Daniel Jones. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we saw last year, Dan Arnold came into town and played pretty well. I mean, there was games where he was getting 10, 7, 8 targets. Didn't really fly in the touchdown category, but man was getting targeted like crazy and was a streamable tight end for 3 weeks in a row. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree. I just, it's not.
I think Evan Engram will play over Dan Arnold, but I'm saying that they've got room for a good tight end to come in and take over some targets. And you're getting them cheap, not costing you anything. It's throwaway picks anyways, and you could find someone who just breaks out this year.
Yeah, 100%. Could be his Devontae Parker year, as we like to say.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. 1 year, baby. 1 year. So, anyways, guys, that is it. That is our tight end episode. Well, not our only one, but 4 tight ends you should draft, target, however you like it. We gave you a variety. One going as the tight end 1 overall. You got Pat Freiermuth there at tight end 12. And then we gave you some back end tight ends as well. Then we also gave you some guys you should avoid, guys you need to avoid this year.
Do not draftable players. Find better value.
Yes. So, but anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you later.